What is up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Talk of the Rig Show. If you do not know who I am, then that means you're not subscribed. And if you are not subscribed, you're going to be missing so many great episodes, so just hit the subscribe button because it's right there. But before we hop into today's episode, I just got to say, Sunday we had a show, and it was the Love Bug Memorial Show, and it was so great. It was so sad. Like, they did a 10-bell salute for Love Bug, obviously, for Bray Wyatt. It was a sad time, but guys, I'm so happy because y'all know how much of a fan I am of Sammy and Keikoa, and I got to see them. I was crying. But guys, we have one half of the greatest tag team out there. Probably one of the greatest tag teams out there. We have Nathanial Cunningham.
How are you? That was probably one of the best intros I've had.
Thank you. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. So, obviously, we're going to hop right into it with who or what got you into wrestling.
I would say my godfather. He wrestled back in the day with Love Bug, actually. He was at that show. He went under the Prowler. So as a kid, I went to his shows and I just kind of got hooked from there. Then WWE came along. I started watching from there. And then my godfather is the one that sent me to Justin Glory to start at Backbreakers Entertainment. And that was the start.
Wow. Okay. So obviously with the training, how long would you say you trained before you got a legit match in front of a crowd?
So my training was about 2 years to 2.5 years because of COVID. So my got delayed for a very long time. And then after COVID restrictions stopped, that's when I had my first match.
Okay. And obviously, like I said, you're part of one of the greatest tag teams. Who, if they don't know, who is your tag partner? How did you guys become a tag team? What's the story on that?
Oh, my tag team partner is of professional wrestling, Donnie Bambino. We actually started tagging. We're just really good friends. So we were helping each other out with moves and sequences, and we kind of just looked at each other one day and we're like, you know what? Why not tag at Backbreakers? There's not enough tag teams here.
Yeah.
So we talked to Glory, and he's gave us the go ahead, started formulating some plans, and then Backbreakers had to step away. So we just decided to take our tag team elsewhere. And thankfully we had the opportunities to do so. And it's been great ever since.
No, definitely. I mean, I know we had him on here, and now we have you on here. So it's really cool. We get to see your side and his side. But if they don't know, are you a heel? Or are you a face?
In real life?
Well, no. In wrestling.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, no, I mean, we're heels. We're heels. One of the best heel tag teams out there.
No, and that's what's so funny because I said to him, to me, I can tell if they're a heel or a face, but you guys look like complete faces. So when I knew you guys were heels, I'm like, they gotta go. They are not.
Well,
they are not.
We tried to do a face down in not the UCW. It was in Binghamton, actually, at one of JD's shows. And it was the most fun we've ever had because we bought confetti poppers. We were just going all out. But it just didn't work for us.
Yeah, I think especially Donnie, you guys are more like heels, but you have your baby face tendencies.
Yes.
You're only a heel if you have to, and if the kids or someone brings it out of you. So
that's exactly what it is. That is a great way of putting that.
Yeah, exactly. So, what would you say is your favorite thing about wrestling?
Oh, right now I would say the traveling. The on-the-road traveling and the stories that come of it have been amazing.
No, definitely. That's my thing. I love traveling. I love going to all these different shows because there's always a show every weekend. If you can't go to one, go to another. And they're all over the place, not just in Pennsylvania, not just in New York. They're every weekend. So I'm you get to see your different, I guess you could say flavors of ice cream. You get to see your different flavors of shows and how the crowd reacts.
I agree. And if you don't, as a performer, do those flavors of shows, you're never going to get anywhere in this career. So, I mean, it's a grind.
No, definitely. I mean, I know it takes a lot. It probably costs a lot too, but at the same time, it's kind of worth it.
It is. It is in the end.
So switching on the other side, what would you say is the hardest part for you?
The hardest part for me, I would say traveling home after the show for some reason. Because after the adrenaline wears down, because I have really bad anxiety. So once that's gone, my anxiety spikes right up the whole way home for some odd reason. Sometimes it's better. but most of the times it's on the worse end.
Wow. That's new, but like it's different because a lot of wrestling is also like the mental state and like the mentality. Like you could go out and be like, yeah, I'm fine, but like realistically you could be potentially dying inside.
Exactly. Like I've never realized how much of a toll wrestling takes on you mentally until I started training. And then I was like, whoa, like I never expected to be tired or this sore from anything.
No, definitely. Like, and especially like obviously as a wrestler, it's a lot. But also like in my situation, I transferred from being a fan into like the podcaster, and I do like stuff at the shows now. And like you mentioned before at UCW, that was like my first show that I ever did. So I was on the outside, I was like, yeah, I'm so pumped up. And the inside, I'm like, oh, I'm dying. I can't do this.
Well, for your first show, you guys did act really good. So like I will give it to you guys in podcast. Like I can only imagine how hard they are to run. So I give you all the credit.
No, thank you. So we have my dad in the chat hyping you up because that's what he does best. But no, definitely UCW was a fun time. It was a fun show. It was a lot.
It was, and hopefully when they soon open back up, I mean we'll come together again.
No, definitely. So I can't really ask you if your child said this because you have a child on the way, right?
I do. We just went to our appointment today. We're there. It was a good appointment.
That's great. So like in the future, let's give it 15 years. If your child comes up to you and says, Dad, I want to do exactly what you're doing, what advice would you tell them?
So we just actually got done having this conversation not too long ago, and we would be fine with it. We wouldn't want them to do it, but if they want to do it, they need to be all in. So training maybe on light stuff at 16, but really not honing down until 18. And then from there, I mean, I'd go to some shows with them, but like it's time to be one of the boys and go on your own. So that's, I think, where I'm at with it. If they want to wrestle, sure, I'll try to be there for them and give them all the tools I can. And if not, then hopefully they choose something else.
No, definitely. We also have Shelby Waters saying, haha, we just talked about this.
Yep.
No, I think it is a lot going into wrestling. As like I said in my spot, even if it's just as a fan, they could progress and be like, okay, well, I'm a fan from this age to this age, then transfer into training and then doing, even if it's not being a wrestler, being involved could still be a lot. So they got to, like you said, they got to be all for it. So
exactly.
Definitely. So if AEW called and WWE called, which one would you take?
As of right now, I take AEW. Just because of the more creative freedom, the different guys still working independent shows. Because at the end of the day, I love independence, but I do want to make it at the same time. Best of both worlds there, I choose AEW.
No, definitely. And like that's the thing, like AEW has that flexibility, like you can be on their shows, but you could also still do the indies. I'm more all for the indies because like you don't get that interaction like in the bigger shows. Like you don't get to be like, hey, I got Nathaniel Cunningham talking to me like, oh my God, he's a big star. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you're just talking to a camera at that point. So I agree with that 100%.
No, definitely. So my dad is now chatting up Shelby in the chat. So got the best of both worlds in here.
It's like a family reunion for us.
Definitely, right? So obviously you do a bunch of shows. How do you feel about like hardcore death match kind of stuff? Weapons.
So I respect deathmatch, but I would never be able to do one because I'm too much of a bitch. Not gonna lie. But as far as hardcore goes, I am willing to do some things, but like thumbtacks, I'm not ever willing to do. But I had a street fight with Ricky Price and MJ Sachs on a high ground. We went all out, balls to the walls, and it was a great match. And I would definitely do that type of energy again in that match.
No, definitely. So like it has to fit. Like I could never see you or Donnie doing it because, like I said, y'all like seem like baby faces to me. So that just wouldn't ride.
Right. Now, if there's a purpose and there's a reason, I will do it. But if there's not, then I'm out.
Yeah, I get it. So, like, with that being said, I'm sure you had plenty of matches with Shelby Waters. Are you all for, like, intergender matches, or it has to have its place? You know what I mean?
I am a huge advocate for intergender matches because it's a good like way to mix the two. And at the other spectrum, it's like the men are helping the women, but the women are especially helping the men in so many more ways than one. Like some of the guys I work and wrestle on the shows, they don't hit me as hard as women have hit me. So me
Yeah.
personally, I like working women more than I do men, just for the sole fact we could both lay it in. They don't bitch about it, and they take it, and then we go to the back and we're fine. So
Yeah.
I work women at this point.
No, that's definitely cool because us females, we got a lot in us that we don't usually see. And if you piss us off, it's just easy to smack the shit out of you. So
Exactly.
and like Shelby said, 2-0, baby. So clearly you aren't doing something right.
No, I lost to her twice. I lost to Autumn Breeze. I mean, I got to pick my game up against the females.
Yeah, it just makes you look bad. Like
It does.
you're kind of asking for it, but hey.
It's still fun.
Mm-hmm. My dad says Shelby wins against her hubby all the time.
That is a very fair point. That is a very fair point. Even at home, I lose. So I never win. I was just talking to her about this today. I am never on the winning end.
You poor thing. You got to step up your game. Show her some competition. Don't make the men look weak.
You know what? When she comes back, I'll show her. I'll show her when she comes back and ready to be in the ring.
We'll see. That's what you all say, and then you continue to lose. But it's fun.
It is.
So, do you think it's going to be like an age thing, a mindset thing, or like an injury thing that causes you to retire?
I would say probably an age thing.
Yeah.
Because as I don't want to be like no disrespect to the veterans. But when it's my time to hang up the boots, I want to hang up the boots and be like, hey, I know I did all I can, but I got no more in the tank. Yeah. I don't want to be like 45 or 50 and still try to do what I used to and just ruin my name and my reputation that I had.
No, definitely. But like when it comes to that time where you can't wrestle anymore, would you still want to be involved like somehow, whether it's a trainer or a manager or something along those lines?
I would love to be a promoter at that point. Because like the backstage stuff for me, like it really caught me when I was learning from Justin Glory. So like that's something I would really love to do in the future.
No, definitely. It gives like the younger crowds a lot of like opportunities because at that point they'll be like old enough to do it. And like with UCW, that was pretty cool. Like I got to see the outside part and I also got to see the inside part. I'm like, it's not as easy as I thought it was. Like 6-year-old me was like, hell yeah, we're gonna be a wrestler. And I'm like, no, it's
like,
not happening. Nope, not gonna happen.
And that's like what I want to do too before I like retire. I want to give back in some way, shape, or form to the younger guys because if no one did it for me, I wouldn't be where I am today. So
no, definitely. I definitely agree. So you've wrestled at plenty of venues. Has there been a venue that stood out to you? You were like, I will wrestle here any opportunity I get.
Triple W8 down in Quakerstown. Those fans are one of the best fan bases that I've ever been in front of.
Okay. I mean, that's like what I was saying before, like all the wrestling, especially like in different states. I've been to so many different shows. And like here, obviously in Pennsylvania, I'm like, okay, I'm used to these crowds. But when I go to like Connecticut or Rhode Island and see a show, I'm like, this is intense. I don't know if I could. This is not my type of crowd. And I'm loud and I'm crazy. But those fans are like worse.
They're with it down there. They don't care.
Yeah. I mean, at some point there was fans throwing tampons at a restaurant. I'm like, oh, okay. So I would advise you not to wrestle there, especially being the heel.
Wow. Well, thank you. I haven't been asked yet, but I'm sure I will make the drive if I was asked, depending on baby and stuff. But we'll see.
Yeah. So is there a specific, what's it called, venue that you want to wrestle in at some point in your career?
I would say the 2300 arena in Philly. That would be awesome for me because I watched ECW for so long. So that would just like a little win in my eyes.
Okay. So speaking as individually, is there alive or dead? What is one wrestler or person you'd have a match with if you could?
Jeff Hardy. He was one of the key idols for me getting into it and watching him growing up. Like, it really influenced me to do a lot of moves and like try a lot of things out. So like, I would love to wrestle Jeff Hardy.
No, that'd definitely be a cool one. I love his vibe. He's all for it.
Yeah.
So now, as a tag team, who would you dream match? Who would you go with against?
Ooh, right now I'd say the Usos.
Ooh, I love the Usos.
Yeah.
That'd be such a hard match.
It would. But I think we would flow together nicely. Like, especially me and Donnie's dynamic versus them. I mean, I think we'd be able to put on a good.
No, definitely. If I ever seen them in person, I'd probably cry. I'd be like, oh my God. Like, I like you guys. You guys are pretty cool. But oh my God, the Usos.
No, I would do the same thing. I met one of them. I forget. The one that's with Naomi. I met him at Waffle House after the show down in Wilkes-Barre. And that was a pretty cool moment, actually.
Lucky.
So I did meet one of them.
Show off. Anyway, so like in those moments when you get to meet like other bigger stars, I guess you can say, do you find yourself being like a fan or fangirling like, oh my God? Are you ever?
Deep down, but I don't show it.
Yeah.
So, like Gangrel, for instance, I met him. I was on 2 shows with him already, and I deep down I was, but like up front I was like, yeah, like this is cool. Like, you know, I'm fine.
No, yeah, that's really how it is. Like, you'll be like, yeah, that's cool. Oh my God, like, how are you? Like, inside I'm like, oh my God, I got to meet this person.
Exactly.
No, that's cool. So do you have like a specific like warm up or something you do before you come out the curtain?
So I don't have anything like warm up wise besides like me and Donnie hug all the time before we go out. But I would say like I'm very superstitious. So like if I don't put my left boot on before my right, I always seem to have a bad night.
Oh.
So I have to get the left one on, lace it up, right one on, lace it up, and I'm good to go.
That's new. But
yeah.
Okay. It is what it is. So have you ever had like any severe injuries or just injuries in general?
I've had 2 so far, which they weren't really bad. The one was I partially tore my MCL in training right before 2 weeks before my debut, which thankfully I was able to wrestle with the knee brace on. And then my second one was I found out I had bone spurs in my neck. So that one's still like an ongoing issue. We're gonna try to resolve it with a chiropractor, but if not, I don't know what's gonna happen in the future.
No, yeah. So like when you were told those, like when you knew about those injuries, what like motivated you to continue to wrestle or like still have that passion to wrestle?
So with my MCL, it was just like the debut. I waited for so long. COVID just finally ended. So I was wrestling no matter what.
You're like, I don't care.
Yeah, no, I didn't care at that moment. If I completely tore it, I needed surgery, that would have been fine. I had my one match. But as far as my neck, I would say like I'm still nervous about it because I don't know if like any discs are loose or like they're not giving me defined answers. So I'm kind of just wrestling and kind of just hoping everything's okay when I wake up on Sunday morning. But I mean, it kind of motivates me more now because like I am having a kid. So I know like bookings will have to dwindle down at some point, and I want to coach baseball and I want to coach football. So I think now is just trying to get all my stuff in while I can.
Okay, and I gotta ask because I may be wrong, but isn't Donnie also having a kid as well?
Yes, he is. And this is like the weirdest, like we couldn't even plan it. So he announced his pregnancy like 2 months before we even found out. And he was already like, his girlfriend's 3 months ahead of us. So then it so happened that Shelby she wrestled me. And then we had a show at High Ground. She thought she had a concussion. Went to the hospital. She turns out she was pregnant. So that's how we found out. And when we found out and we told Donnie, and he just started laughing uncontrollably. He's like, yeah, we're going to be dads together. We literally do everything as a tag team. And shit, you know, I guess we do.
That'd be crazy. Because can you imagine just those babies growing up together and then they become a tag team? It'll just be perfect.
That's what we're hoping for. We're just because they're gonna be raised like brother and sister. We already talked. There's no dating. There's no nothing. They're being raised as brother and sister. That's it. That is it.
Yeah, that's what you think is gonna happen, but you can't really control what happens. But
exactly.
Like you can say it 1,000 times that they're only gonna be friends. They're only gonna be brothers and sisters. But when they become teenagers, you can't really stop that.
No, and I know that from being a teenager. I know you know that. Our parents never would be able to stop us. So, I mean, I'll hit that road when we get there.
No, definitely. So Shelby goes and says, did have a concussion, LMAO. Then we have the Pro Wrestling Podcast in here saying yeehaw.
Yeehaw.
And then we also have my dad saying, we got to get Shelby on here and show the mother to be some love. Fun fact, I've tried booking her so many times, but she's always too busy. So that's that's what happened, but it's okay.
God forbid she's a superstar.
Yeah, one day I'm going to regret it and be like, oh my gosh, she's too busy now. But what are some upcoming shows people can find you at?
So I'm off this weekend. I'm at Frontier Pro Wrestling at Colossal Con on the next weekend. I don't even know the date, to be honest. I think it's September 9th. Yes.
Yeah.
Then the weekend after that, I'm at PCWA defending my title. And then I'm double shotting from PCWA to 3WA in Quakerstown.
Okay.
And then, I have EBW2 in Jersey coming up. So those are my top 3 that's coming up right now.
Okay. And so do you always only work in a tag team, or do you do some shows by yourself?
I do some shows by myself. Like PCWA right now, I am a solos competitor. But Donnie is actually going to take some time off after the September show. So he's going to go on hiatus till next year.
Okay. And so obviously you wrestle with a bunch of different wrestlers, but has there been a match that stood out to you and you were like, I really like this opponent? They work great in the ring with you.
So not to be biased here, but I would say Shelby. Just because we trained together the whole time that I was coming up, she was coming up. But when we had our first match at Sanctuary, it kind of just clicked. And ever since then, we just work well together.
Okay. I was going to say, because I know you wrestle with Buddy Thomas, right?
Buddy is amazing.
Oh my God, that guy makes my head hurt. At UCW, it was so fun, picking on him. Even now, seeing the shows that he does, I'm like, oh my God. He's just, he's definitely a straight heel, and I can fight him at any time.
Yeah, and he's one of those guys that is hot up and coming right now. He is not one to not watch. He is amazing at what he does. He's very athletic, and he has a great heel gift. So I give him a lot of credit.
No, and his promos. I don't know about his promos.
Same thing with Ricky Price. Their promos are amazing.
Yeah. That's one thing I can definitely give Ricky Price and Buddy Thomas. Every time they have a promo, 95% of the time I end up dying because, Buddy Thomas' latest freaking promo, he's reenacting Timid Tamir, and, that was, I was like, oh my God, what is happening on my phone? And I was like, oh, that's just Buddy Thomas.
Right, just doing his thing.
Let him just do whatever he wants because he's the viral this and that and blah, blah, blah. But
yep, I agree. He's viral.
He's all that.
He's all that and a bag of chips. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. So, if people wanted to find you on social media, where can they find you at?
So I have a Facebook, Nathanial Cunningham. I have a YouTube, Nathaniel Cunningham. I have an Instagram. I don't know the username, but I'm sure if you look up Nathaniel Cunningham, you can find it. And yeah. I have a TikTok. So that's all the platforms that I have.
Okay, so guys, if you want to give him a follow, actually, yeah, go give him a follow. His Instagram is linked down below, and I'm sure you can find all his other social medias by going to his Instagram. And lastly, most importantly, do you have merch? And if so, where could people purchase it at?
I do. And if you want to purchase it, I'm starting the TeePublic store now. And then if you see me at a show, you can just always grab an 8x10 or a t-shirt or a sticker.
There you go. So thank you so much for coming on. Obviously, we got to try to get Shelby on now and see if she's not too busy. Not kidding.
Exactly. Maybe she'll be free.
Maybe, but I hope you all have a great night. Thank you so much. And lastly, again, R.I.P. Bray Wyatt. I can't even talk on that because I'll start crying. I swear to God, when they did that Friday and yesterday, I was like, I can't do this. I'm such a wreck.
No, that was unfortunate.
It's a really sad thing. Yeah. And that just shows it doesn't matter what age you are. It's literally never promised. So
exactly.
And yeah, being a dad too, you're gonna be a dad, and I bet that wasn't easy even for the wife. And I'm I can't imagine.
No, me either. Especially him having kids as well. I don't know. Hopefully his family's going gonna be okay, and hopefully she can get through it.
Yeah, it's wrestling world is it's like I say it all the time. It's like a family. We all become a family, and like when you see each other at those like shows once a month, it's like a family reunion. Like you don't get to see them all the time. You don't get to talk all the time, but when you do, it's like, well, you know, those people are always there for you whenever you need sense. So
Exactly, and that is very well put.
and that's the great thing about wrestling. But thank you all. Thank you so much. Congrats on the baby. And
Thank
like I
you.
said, we gotta get Shelby on here now and see her side.
Yeah, no, I agree. But thank you for having me.
Of course. Enjoy your night. Bye.